So, hello everybody, and welcome to the ABOO Leadership Series. I'm Lucy McCARRAHER. I'm the founder of Book Magic AI, Rethink Press, and the ABOO A Book of One's Own group. And I am delighted to have multi-award-winning brand consultant, designer, author, and speaker, SAPNA PIEROUX with us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome,
And thank you,
SAPNA.
everyone. Thank you.
So, SAPNA, you are the founder of InnerVisions ID. You work with busy, ambitious thought leaders and game changers on their brand to help them make a bigger impact. And now you are expanding your remit and offering personal branding for anyone who wants to become more visible and make more impact, which is really exciting. And I can't wait to hear how you're going to, what you're going to be telling us about that. So, Sapna, thanks for being here today, and I will hand over to you to tell us all about it.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for turning up today. It's lovely to see some friendly faces in the room and some new faces as well. So I'm just going to share my screen, I think, now, if that's okay. And then we'll get started. There's a lot to get through. So just a bit of housekeeping before we do that. If you could keep your mute on, that would be great. And leave the questions to the end. Otherwise, it'll just kind of, my butterfly mind will go all over the place. And also there are some prizes up for grabs. So keep listening because I'll be asking you a question at the end, and there'll be some prize up for grabs, including the chance to win a £250 power hour with me to work on anything that's pressing in your brand at all. So a little bit about me. I mean, Lucy's already given me a fantastic introduction, so I won't spend too long on that. But yes, I'm the author of Let's Get Visible. I'm SAPNA PIEROUX and founder of InnerVisions ID, and yeah, we're working with game changers, thought leaders, and founders who want to make a bigger impact. I spent the first 20 years of my career working across design, marketing, and media sales, sponsorship and promotions at some of the most iconic media brands across the UK, and creating some pretty awesome six-figure campaigns for brands like this across their radio, TV, digital, print, and events. So you could say I know brand pretty well. 8 years ago, I started my own consultancy, and now I, kind of work and help these entrepreneurial businesses go from invisible to visible. My vision process and big brand experience is so powerful that I can rebrand a company in a day. And I've made myself, kind of quite well known for that. But imagine my surprise then when I put a post out on LinkedIn asking what I should talk about, and 42% of voters voted for personal brand. And I have to admit that the first thought that went through my head, imposter syndrome rising, was, well, what do I know about personal brand? I work on company brands. And I've worked on personal brands for my clients when they've asked me to, but it's something that I'd never put up kind of above the line. And then, I started to talk to a few people, and they were laughing. And I was like, oh, I'd sort of forgotten what I had achieved, because I've been out of the game for 18 months because of, cancer and various bits and pieces. So I'd sort of forgotten that, yeah, okay, I have spoken on lots of panels in real life and online. I've spoken on stages to hundreds of people. I'm a lecturer for various universities, and been a brand mentor with various business communities. I've been featured in various press titles, and I've won quite a few awards as well. So oh, that's what they mean by personal brand. I guess that's what we're talking about. And on top of that, I get rave reviews and referrals, and I'm known as kind of a key person to go as a go-to amongst my peers. I attract people from out of the blue who are interested in working with me, and I've managed to build a profitable business as well. I've done all this as well, I have to say, without a massive media following. So it doesn't have to be that you've got a massive social following. As long as you've got the impact and you get the messaging right, you're going to be hitting the right people. And then, of course, somebody sent me a screen grab of this and went, you do realise that you're in Dan Priestley's video on how to 5 steps to improve your personal brand. And I hadn't actually seen that. And I was like, oh, okay, if Dan thinks I'm getting something right, then maybe I'm sat on a mountain of value, as he would say, that I haven't noticed myself. So that's why we're here today. So just a quick show of hands before we go any further. Who here has a personal brand? Cool. Okay, there's a few people that didn't have their hands up, but the majority of you did. Here's the newsflash. You've all got personal brands. You've all got a personal brand, whether you're doing anything about it yourself, whether you're being intentional about it. Everybody has an opinion of you. Everybody that's connected to you has an opinion of you. So it's down to you to make sure that you craft that personal brand to how you want to be perceived. So that's what today is all about. In fact, Mark Schaefer, who's the author of Known and several other books, says personal brand strategy is simply a fact of business life these days. In fact, as traditional PR and advertising becomes less relevant, and who's actually watching those ads now and looking at the ads, increasingly the personal brand is the company brand, especially in smaller companies. Now, I actually think he's wrong. I think he's wrong because it's not just smaller companies that this is important for. And everyone always wheels out Richard Branson, but they do because he's a great example of personal brand. He's got 4.9 million followers. If you look at Virgin, his company, only 246,000 followers. This is on Instagram. I even looked at Oprah Winfrey, 22.8 million followers. I couldn't find a page for her company. Does anyone know the name of her company? Does anyone know the name of her actual company? It's Harpo Productions. But you can't even find that. So personal brand is not just for the small business owner, it's for the large business owner as well. But the bigger your personal brand, the more you're going to get that cut through. In fact, it's the only truly unique thing about your business. I'm saying that for now. Obviously, AI is catching up. And soon you'll probably be able to replicate yourself. But for now, it's the thing that we can't replicate is you. And you turning up in real life, definitely AI is not there yet. So could you put in the chat for me, please, if anybody's got a definition of personal brand? I'm just going to move this window out of the way. Anybody? Don't be shy. Okay. Tricky. Okay, yeah, it is difficult. I've done a lot of work on this, and my summary of it and my way of phrasing it was it's the nurturing. Okay, what other people say about you when you're not in the room? Absolutely, that's a Jeff Bezos quote. What people think about you, how people perceive you, yeah, how you're perceived by others, how you present yourself to the world. Is that thing where everyone you meet has their own thing to think about you, yeah. What someone associates when they think of me. Fantastic. So yeah, I mean, you pretty much got it. It's the nurturing of your professional perception, presence, and visibility through intentional, authentic, and consistent action. That consistency piece is a big part of it as well. So it's perception, presence, and visibility, 3 parts there: intentional, authentic, and consistent action. So what is stopping you getting personal? If you want to increase your personal brand, that's why you're here. What is stopping you? Thank you, Statius, what you stand for. What might be some of the barriers? You're feeling shy. That might be one of the barriers. Not knowing what to say. Yeah, judgment and lack of clarity. Yeah, judgment's a huge one. Fearful. I get it. I completely get it. Being seen as fake or your own imposter syndrome. Penny, imposter syndrome, you're here. Victoria, time, balance with business demands. Yeah, that's a good one. I hadn't even thought of that. Imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is real in anybody who is trying to push themselves out there. So right now, as I've evolved, I'm figuring out what I stand for. Yeah. How you're seeing fade of Christmas. Loads, absolutely loads. Yeah, time is one that I hadn't even put in there, but afraid of criticism. Yeah, not sure how to show up. Afraid of being cancelled. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and somebody said something about all the channels. I get that as well. Not liking social media. I hate social media. I'll be honest with you. Lack of clarity about your own brand. Absolutely. So, some of the other things that I've heard when I've talked to people about this is, I'm not going to repeat all of these, but they feel that LinkedIn is not Facebook. I don't want to we all hate social media, and thank you. We feel that LinkedIn is not Facebook. We don't want to be too personal. How personal is too personal? It feels a bit icky. It feels a bit uncomfortable. It feels maybe braggy, maybe boastful. The fear of judgment and haters, we're all going to have those. We're scared to polarize people. I'm quite a private person, believe it or not. I'm not introvert, I'm not shy, but some people are. But I am quite a private person. I always kept my private life away from LinkedIn. until recently. And it's new territory, it's terrifying, and putting myself out there fills me with dread as well. In fact, when I brought out my book, I remember talking to you, Lucy, and wanting to put it out under a pen name because I didn't want to. She's nodding there, and she was like, "Don't be so stupid." And she talked me down, but I was like, and I'm glad you did. But I didn't even want to put my name on my book in case people didn't like it. And then when the book came out, my social media manager said, "Sapna, you do realise you've written a book called Let's Get Visible. You're going to have to get visible now." Because I was just sort of like, oh God, can my work not speak for itself? Can my wonderful work not just speak for itself? But the problem is that your work doesn't have a voice. Your amazing work that you're doing doesn't have a voice. You do. And that's the difference. So the problems of not developing your personal brand are, you know, these kind of getting overlooked, struggling to get through, less visibility, less standout. Your voice isn't being heard. By the way, if you're not visible, it doesn't matter how fantastic you are. If you're not being seen, you're not going to make a sale because people aren't going to know that you exist. And your voice isn't being heard then, and then you're not being remembered, you're not being understood, there's less connection and trust. You can't build connection and trust without being visible. Not looking the part, you've got less confidence, losing business to competitors, not being taken seriously, which all means less influence, less impact, and ultimately less income. Those actually, I realised, were the same sort of problems as when I was working with company brand. And I thought, well, hang on, but it's even more amplified when it's your personal brand because actually it feels personal. It's inside you. You can't just go, well, that's my company. And you know, and that is very, it is very, well, you know, sort of interlinked, the two things, but it feels even more personal. When we talk about personal brand, it feels that much more scary. In my book, I've got this model called the Do Say See, and again, it feels even more pertinent when it's your personal brand. So the do is what you do. It's your area of genius. It's what you're selling. It's your knowledge. It's your experience. And I'm assuming that all of you here live up to your promises and you deliver what you say you're going to do on the tin. So that one, let's say that one's sorted. Your say is what you're going to say about it, and that's in your social posts. That's on your LinkedIn header. It's you know, in any content that you put out, it's in any presentation that you do, it's how you pitch yourself at a networking event or a business meeting. It's how you communicate your value. And then the C is how you show up. Now, showing up is not just how you know, it's not just your branding, it's actually how you show up as a person as well. And this is where there's that, you need to have that congruence between everything you do, everything you say, and everything you see in order for you to build that you know, that strong brand. Otherwise, people kind of think, well, you know, if you're saying you've got a quality service and then so you go onto the website and it's not up to date and it looks scruffy and it doesn't load up, it kind of casts aspersions onto that your level of professionality. Same as if you're at a networking event and you've got spinach on your teeth. You know, very simple thing, but people are going to be focusing on the spinach on the teeth rather than listening to what you've got to say. So it's having all of those things in alignment, and that's when you can build your powerful personal brand. Why do we need to build a brand? We've already talked about visibility. Can anyone tell me what this landmark is? Type in chat. Anyone know? It's Mount Everest, by the way. Yes, thank you. It's Mount Everest, thank you. Here's your staggering fact time. Last year, I was, or even though, sorry, 2 years ago, I've lost 18 months. I was talking about, we scroll the length of Big Ben, the height of Big Ben every day on social media. It has now increased. That was a 2020 stat. It's now that your thumb scrolls the height of Mount Everest every 20 days. Have you? Oh, Sarah's been to Nepal. Wow. Every 20 days. I mean, what an athletic little thing your thumb is. Oh my God, exactly. So if you're putting out a post that is about this big, how much stuff are people scrolling through? And why? You know, if you're not visible, if you're not making that impact with what you're doing and what you're saying, you're getting lost in the height of Mount Everest every 20 days. It is mad. It is mad. That's gone up from 2020, as I say. And I just think since lockdown, everybody's been more on, you know, online. It's horrendous. And it, you know, I've been talking about Big Ben in my book, and the whole thing is about visibility. As I say, if you don't get seen, nobody's going to know what you do, and you're not going to get the business. It's an insane statistic. Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, I'll have to come up with a special acronym for what it is that I'm going to do for this personal brand product. And then my lovely coach, Chris Bantock, who's in the crowd there, said, why don't you use your vision process? And I was like, oh, you're quite good, aren't you? So this is the personal vision process. It's been adapted. It's a framework that works. It's absolutely starts with strategy, and then we move to implementation. So I'm going to take you through that, and it gives you the steps that you need to take in order to build your powerful personal brand. So when I work with clients, I ask them to think first about their 5 aspirational brands, or your fabs. And when you're trying to build your own personal brand, it's great to actually look at other people's personal brands that you admire, that you aspire to be like, and sort of think, well, what is it? It's not about copying them, but what is it that they're doing that really resonates with you? And is it what they stand for? Is it the kind of loyal following they've got? Is it their sense of humor? Is it, is it how real they are? What is it that you actually, and if you look at 5 of these, and it could be 5 people, you could do 5 brands, but for this, it's personal brand, really dig deep as to what it is that's aspirational about them for you and your personal brand. We start to build that into the brand. For your vision as well, it's kind of, well, what is it that you want to be known for? I've got a lot more on this as well. So excuse my notes here. So it's what you're great at. It's what your superpowers are. What's your origin story? What makes you remarkable? What makes you memorable? What makes you unique? What impact do you want to leave? What's your purpose? What's your goals? This is a huge, huge part of the work that we do. And that you need to do. What's your reputation going to be? What will you be remembered for? What's your passion? What's your legacy? So all of that is in your vision, and it's where you are now, and where you want to be, and where you want to end up. And then we look at your customer vision, because what do they want? So it's not enough to just think about what you want to achieve. What do they want? And it's not enough to just tell them what you're selling. Who are they first? Yes, it's your client avatar, but why would they seek to work with you? Why are they going to recommend you? Why are they going to remember you? What impact will you leave with them? And why are they going to be queuing around the block to work with you? So all of that work is really foundational for anything you do before you start launching into personal brand, because this is building the vision. We then move to inner brand, and this is one of my favorite quotes. I'm sure you'll know who that's from. And it's Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel. And for those of you that are feeling a little bit scared to get yourself out there, just kind of remember that. It doesn't matter if you make a little mistake every now and again. Think about that tsunami of social media that is going on with the Mount Everest thing. It will be the equivalent of yesterday's newspapers, and it will be chip shop wrappers, the digital equivalent. So actually, it's about building this body of work that builds a feeling, and the feeling doesn't develop with one social media post. The feeling will develop over time. And making the emotional connection with your audience and letting your personality shine through is, again, one of the things that's going to do that. So this is when you need to be thinking about your values. Now, aim for 5, because too many, it just starts getting, a little bit too much to try and communicate. And these are your non-negotiables. What are the kind of clients you want to work with? What are the shared values that you're going to have with those clients? Michaela's just said, I think people are more forgiving of little mistakes. Then absolutely, then we give them credit for. It just makes you more human. Absolutely. I did that the other day. I actually sent a copy and paste message to someone with the wrong name at the top. And then for this, saying thank you for registering. And then I went, I'm so sorry, I got that wrong. And it was like, at least it proves that I'm not a bot. And he was lovely. He was lovely about it, because it was like, this is not an automation. Clearly, I made a mistake. But what are the non-negotiables that you really are running your business by? And don't just sort of say things like, oh yes, well we provide, we're professional, because hands up here, who's not professional? Anyone? Everybody. Oh, Stephen says he's not professional. But honestly, it's not a differentiator. So think about the things that are going to help make you unique. The point is to get you to stand out. So think about that with your values. Ditto with your personality, but also think about what kind of personality your clients need to feel that they can trust in, and need to want to connect with and want to work with. Who will they connect with? One way of getting that personality out there is by telling your story, or stories. It doesn't have to be the whole story. It can be a section of your story. It could be something just happened yesterday. It doesn't have to be so raw and vulnerable. that, you know, if anybody disagreed with you, it's going to, you know, destroy your very being. You share what you want to share. And the voice thing is about language and tone. Now, obviously, if you're writing it, then that's quite easy. It'll be your own voice and your language and tone, your style. But I've still seen business owners who use a lot of jargon in a way they want to seem really kind of knowledgeable and authoritative, and actually just speak to people like you'd speak to people, rather than, in fact, try dictating the post that you want to make, and it'll probably come out in much more natural language that is much more likely to connect with your target audience as well. When I was struggling doing video a couple of years ago, when I was up at my old house, my husband actually put a photograph of himself behind my camera and smiling at me. So it made me look up and smile at him. So it just kind of made me feel, oh, I've got someone that I'm talking to, because I find it really hard talking to a green light as well. So that, you know, little things like that can also help with the tone and the style. Remember though, we're talking, you're not B2B or B2C. You're not selling B2B or B2C. You're communicating H2H, which is human to human. And even if you're Richard Branson, you still have hopes and dreams. You still have problems that keep you awake at night. You still have, you know, kind of vulnerabilities. And that's really where you want to be making that connection. I worked with a social media coach. I'll tell you a little bit about her just very recently. And I've never had feedback like this before. And so the difference that she's made in what I'm putting out there meant that 2 weeks ago, I got this. You know, hi, SAPNA, I'm really loving seeing a bit of what you're doing on LinkedIn. The words that spring to mind are creative, fun, professional, means business, punching above your bubbly weight, warm, no nonsense. It would be great to have a conversation and to understand more. I mean, to get that from, I've only been posting back on LinkedIn since mid-February. And that was it just blew me away, because I've never had anything like that before. And then in the same week, I got this message. And when I read SAPNA PIEROUX's post on LinkedIn, I know exactly who she is, what she stands for, her personality, and also what she offers. It's really clear. I also see great examples of her work. I see she gets results, and I like what I see. Authentic, honest, proud of what she does, and a deep connection to a superpower that's making money from by sharing it with others. You have it now, SAPNA. I want to have an online presence in this way. And she wanted a presence that had clarity, magnetic pull, and selling power. So again, something that I was doing is cutting through. And I think it's all of these things that kind of accumulated. Who here's ever Googled themselves? We've got to stand out now. Who here's ever Googled themselves? Yeah? Hands up, hands up. Come on, you all have. Yes, yes. And you are who Google says you are. I think Dan Priestley said that. I'm going to quote him a little bit because I did do KPI. It must really piss the Queen off though, right? Because I Google image search the Queen, and poor old Camilla, she's just there. I mean, what comes up for the Queen is HRH, you know, Queen Elizabeth, poor love. But you know, what she's done is consistency. She's been going for decades, and Camilla's the new kid on the block, isn't she? So she's up against it there. She needs to be doing more video and social media posts, obviously. Competitors. So, you know, obviously Camilla doesn't have that competitor now, but she has in terms of profile. So what you need to do is find out she needs a hat, Kevin says, yeah. How can you differentiate? And it's about, you know, all the Elizabeth ones had a hat, very, very good. Yeah. How can you differentiate yourself from your competitors? It might be as simple as wearing a hat, but I don't think that's something that that will certainly help clients remember you, but not necessarily buy from you. But it's about innovation. It's about doing something differently, doing something better. My pitch when I talk to people about, you know, rebranding businesses in a day is a real wow factor, and people want to know more. How do you do that? You know, positioning, clear, easy, succinct, targeted. Again, I wasn't talking to people about that before. And I thought, I don't want to be pigeonholed as the one-day brand girl. And my husband said, well, it's better to be known for something than not be known for anything. So it's one of that, but it's also about who do you work with? How do you help them? And what do you do? And it's, you know, I help so-and-so get from here to B by doing this. Just really, really nailing that down to a sentence and putting on your LinkedIn header. The amount of people that don't really utilize those characters in the top part of their profile is unreal. And then credibility is another way of standing out. So appearing in or appearing on titles, working with, author of, so being on podcasts, being, you know, in magazines. Believe me, people want content. So you're helping them by putting yourself forward. Brands that you've worked with, if you're an author, obviously bang on about it like I do. Winner of, if you've got awards, then that's a credibility piece, and it's another reason to get out there and elevate your personal brand. Little tip from me, from one of my clients, Antoinette Oglethorpe, who just can't stop winning awards. And I once said to her, "What's your secret?" And she told me that book's her secret, and I used it, and I won a load of awards as well. Actually, I haven't read it. If you're thinking you're too busy to enter awards, by the way, because they do take time, I paid my social media lady to read the book and write my awards entries, and then I spent like an hour, half an hour to an hour, checking it over and going, yeah, that's great, thank you very much. And that's what we did. So you can outsource these things, and it's worth it. Image. Now, this is obviously where first impressions do count. And I'm a big believer that how you do one thing is how you do everything. I've had so many people in the past and even recently approach me and go, I knew I wanted to work with you because I realized I looked at your website, or I looked at your LinkedIn, or I looked at you in the networking room, and I realized that you understand brand. Because everything I do is pulled together, everything I do is cohesive. And it works on every platform, whether I show up in real life or I don't. And it doesn't mean that you have to wear your brand colors all the time, but it works for me because, well, red is a standout color, and I help my clients stand out. So for me, it was, again, Chris, yeah, you've only got one chance for a great impression. Yeah, super t-shirt, thank you. The superhero thing started as a bit of a joke in lockdown. I bought a load of red dresses for my book talks after the book came out, and then we went into lockdown. So I had to hang up the dresses. Well, I got fat over lockdown, and then I thought, well, what can I wear on a Zoom room to make myself still wear red? I wasn't really wearing fancy dresses. I had a superhero t-shirt, I had a Wonder Woman one, and now I've got a whole collection of 5, one for every day of the week. So and it's just kind of stuck. But with imagery, you know, it's not just about your branding, it's not just about your colors, it's not just about your fonts. There's photography. So we've got the lovely Sarah Ayres. Do you want to make yourself known, Sarah? Who has taken some of the photographs of me that you'll see in this presentation today. Fun fact, some of these photos were taken 18 months ago, shortly after my mastectomy, in real life by a friend who's also a photographer. And some of these were taken remotely by Sarah in a shoot just a couple of weeks ago. And I'll bet you won't be able to tell the difference between them. So it's an amazing process, and connect with Sarah if you want to find out more, or wait till the end of this presentation. Video, so that's going to build your know, like, and trust. I admit I don't do enough video. I'm very rusty on the old video front. I'm fine when I'm presenting to a live audience, and so I'm going to be asking Kevin to help me with this. So Kevin Ayres helps you with that, and it will increase your know, like, and trust billionfold, more than just print or photographers. You can actually, you know, people can hear your voice. You can do explainers, you can introduce yourself, you can talk about client testimonials, you can do lives like this and then repurpose it. You can do YouTube Shorts, TikTok, all of that. Video is the fire, and you can do all of that remotely. Kevin says, yeah, he can do that remotely too. And then the other part is what we're just talking about, clothes, styling. So actually being styled and knowing what suits you and feeling confident in what you're wearing is going to help you as well. I pull these superhero t-shirts on to give me a bit of superhero power when I'm about to present or when I'm delivering something for clients. I don't wear red in my private life because for me, it's like it's putting my uniform on, a bit like Steve Jobs in his black polo necks, right? So you've got that kind of, but you're in work mode. But also think about your meeting environment. So we're all on Zoom today. I'm not going to pick anyone out, but, you know, think about the positioning of where you are on the screen, what's behind you. Is it, yes, you can have a branded background, but I personally prefer a real life background because I was thinking, what are they hiding? But sometimes you need to hide stuff, and you don't have the luxury of having an office. But, you know, if you've got awards, or you've got books, or you've got things that people are going to comment now, it's a nice way of bringing a bit more of your personality into the room as well. And also meeting environment is in real life too. You know, if you're going to be signing a 100 grand deal with someone, you're not going to take them to McDonald's, right? You're not going to take them to McDonald's to sign a 100 grand deal. Take them to a nice members club or a nice hotel, and take them for lunch. And it's about, you know, it's about creating the right environment and positioning yourself as the right person to do business with. Nick says, I'd never normally wear this online, but I'm in listening mode today. Been a funny bunny. That's absolutely fine. I'm not judging anybody who's turning up now. You're not trying to sell anything. You're not doing, you're here to learn and listen. And that's absolutely fine. But it's just to be mindful of these things, because they do have even a subliminal effect on the people that you're talking to. And for an effect, Michelle Obama, right, when she was just obviously the wife of the US president, I say that in inverted commas, then she was very demure in her. She dressed to blend in. She dressed to be the supportive wife. She was the first lady. She wore American designers. She was being very patriotic. And that was kind of how she showed up, and she was telling a story with her clothes. Once he wasn't the president anymore, and she became an author, she turned up at this talk with Sarah Jessica Parker. So I guess there was a bit of pressure to look good, but she had a thigh-high dress, a slit to the thigh-high Balenciaga boots. And she's giving people a very different story as to where she is now in her life, just in that one outfit. That's making an impression. Absolutely. I love that picture of her. It was so different. And then we get to output. So you cannot, Daniel Priestley again, you cannot consume your way to success. Jonathan, I'm not sure it'd work on Zoom. That's the only thing, getting one of those dresses. Daniel says, no amount of reading books, listening to podcasts, or attending events will be worth as something you create and put out in the world. So you need to write, record, produce, design, sell, ship, upload, send. It's exhausting. But you must create. And you can repurpose, obviously. I'm terrible at repurposing. I need to do more of that. But you need to get your creator mode on. Pick a platform. If it's overwhelming, I know. When I used to spend £600-700 a month with my social media manager. She did a lot for that, and that was fine at the time when the money was flowing in. My business, I'll be honest with you, I'm starting back up again because I've had 18 months off. I can't afford to pay someone yet to do my social media. So I'm doing it myself. And I've just narrowed it down. I've just gone, you know what? I'm just going to play on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my jam. That's it. I just closed down my business Instagram account. I put Instagram, it's not our jam. We're going all in on LinkedIn. Thanks for your support. And then just and honestly, the relief. So pick a platform. If you're starting out, if you want to do more than two, that is your choice. But for me, I just wanted to keep things simple. On that, share your ideas, your thoughts, and authority. Yeah, thanks for the honesty. Yeah, the honesty. You'll get honesty with me. And one of the people that really helped me with my content was, I said I worked with a content influencer, Sam Barefoot. She's a coach. If you've never heard of her, you'll probably mainly find her on TikTok, to be honest, or Instagram. She's not really a LinkedIn person, but what I loved about her content was it cut through. She's got millions and millions of views and followers. And I approached her and I said, I'd like to work with you. I'd like a bit of sand magic, please. And she has this content cake, and she talks about, if you're struggling with what to think about, how to structure these three different sort of pillars of content. So there's your expertise. Obviously, that's what we're all on LinkedIn for. Thought leadership, testimonials, hints, tips, how to get from here to here, telling stories, all of that expertise, brilliant. Little bit of the personal stuff, behind the scenes, being real, sharing your story, your origin, your why. People want to know how you got there. Sorry, Supana says, I love your chat GPT, sorry. Wildcard. The wildcard was the bit that I'd never thought, and she calls it wildcard because this is where you can get really passionate and state an opinion that might even polarize people, that you really hate this, things that make you angry, things that you feel very opinionated on. I still stay away from politics and religion just for obvious reasons. But you can also make it topical, something that's in the news. This is stuff that you can't necessarily plan ahead. I put a post out about Kate Middleton when she was diagnosed with cancer, and that got 3,500 views, and I posted it on a Saturday morning, and it was just something that I posted on Facebook. Actually, it's more of a personal thing. Shared it on LinkedIn, thought, oh, just chuck it on there. And that actually, Nick Blanchard said he met Sam Blanchard. She's lovely. She's very sweary, by the way. So, if you've got sensitive ears, not safe for kids, but I absolutely love her energy. Telling your story, though, does cut through. This is probably my most ever, well, it is my most ever. It went viral. It went a little bit viral. There was a campaign a couple of years ago called This Little Girl Is Me. And it got 151,000 plus impressions. It tells the story of my parents coming to the UK when I was 2, and me growing up in the north of England, which was kind of a little bit racist in the 70s. And being brown skinned, I wanted to blend in. I didn't want to have brown skin. I just wanted to look at my friends. So I'm getting a bit emotional about this. And fast forward anyway, and I come down to London, and I learn to start to love, myself and who I am. And now I help my clients stand out, because I worked out that actually standing out is not so bad after all. This didn't happen in the run through, so this is getting personal, isn't it? But it went viral. It really connected with a lot of people. You don't have to be that raw, though. You can, I got masses of engagement when I posted a picture of my desk of dreams that I'd finally ordered, and people going, "Oh my God, it's an amazing desk!" But I made it relevant because it was talking about dreams coming true, and it was talking about investing in yourself, and it's talking about motivation and what's motivating me to get back out there and create. And it's about, it was about, it is quite a spendy desk, but actually it's going to motivate me to be more and to create more. So and that resonated with a lot of people as well. Finally, we get to nurture, and nurture is the the thing that you've got to do this consistently. Personal brands are not going to be built in a day. Yes, I can rebrand your company in a day, but then it takes you a while to implement it. Same with personal brand. So we can do a lot of the personal work in a day, potentially, but this is going to have to be consistency. Think of the Queen and the consistency that she showed, no matter what. Partnerships and networks will help you, grow your reach. For example, on my book launch day, I actually partnered up with, I offered a piece of content to Hannah Martin of Talented Ladies Club. We've been following each other and supporting each other for years. And I said, look, I'll write a piece about this. Could you send it out to your network on book launch day, an email blast? She did that. I did the same with Shifts to Success, which is a company that I was a brand mentor for. They did an email blast to their database as a mentor. Somebody else wanted to give me a book talk. They hadn't got any money to pay me. So I said, okay, can you promote my book to your audience? And, I hit #1 status by 10:30 that morning. So I could take my foot off the gas and sort of celebrate and relax. But that was what's the power of nurturing those relationships, giving value, offering to help. People need content. So if people have got podcasts or things like that, get yourself on those podcasts, offer yourself up and give them a good story. And of course, another way to nurture is ask your clients, who here asks for testimonials and who here uses testimonials? Because that's another great way. If you don't want to be talking about yourself all the time, I love talking about my clients' successes. So, you need to get them out there as well. So hands up if you're ready to increase your visibility. Get confidence and clarity. I wrote a little poem here. Boost your credibility. Control your perceptivity. I don't know if that's a real word, Lucy. I don't know, but I made it up.
It's a good word.
It's a good word. Open the door to opportunity and take on the world and make that bigger impact. Hands up. Yes, absolutely. So there's another photo there from the lovely Sarah. Thank you. So we've got 3 different ways that you can get involved with this. If you want to join the waitlist, I'll give you the link in a second. So there's the super powerful personal brand, which I'll tell you about a little bit. The powerful personal brand and the power up personal brand are working with me directly. The super powerful has actually got Sarah, Kevin, and another lady, Sarah Lancaster, in on a super collab. So on the first 2 products, you'll get the powerful personal brand day, vision strategy day. So we'll work through that new, that vision process that I've just showed you, and all of those elements we'll look at over the whole day. And we're putting in together like basically a framework for you to then go forward. With the super powerful personal brand, you will then get also 12 30-minute check-in calls with me, and I call them you can do anything calls, because yes, I'm going to be your champion in your corner, helping you to do anything. But also, if you choose to use those, but actually, I'd like you to do just a bit of design on my LinkedIn banner, and can you do some social media posts for me? That also is part of the, it's the strategy is getting you visible as well. So there's design built into these packages as well as strategy, as well as helping you with your copy and your positioning. You'll also get 12 months of WhatsApp support with me directly. So if you want to check anything in with me, or you want me to even just like a LinkedIn post or an Insta post or whatever, I'm on all the platforms, I just don't use them myself for business, then by all means, let me know there. You'll also get a personal brand styling session with a lovely Sandy Lancaster, who can't make it today, but she's an award-winning, check her out on Instagram, that's her main playing field. She will do a remote. So all of these, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can get a styling session with her. You'll get a brand photo shoot with Sarah, who is I've already introduced, and a personal brand video shoot with Kevin, her partner in life and crime. The whole thing can be done remotely. All of that can be done remotely, so it doesn't matter where you are. With the powerful personal brand session, or package, it's just working with me, and you'll get 6 lot of the 30-minute you can do anything calls, and absolutely when you want them, and 6 months of WhatsApp support. And then the Power Up personal brand is a group coaching one, where we look at you'll have a 1-hour focus call on your strategy, but then there'll be 6-hour. That's one-to-one, and then you'll have 6 group calls, 1 hour per week over 6 weeks, where we work through that vision process again. And again, there'll be 3 months of WhatsApp support included in that as well. So the introductory prices are there at the bottom if you're interested in getting involved. But we have got limited amount of, especially with the top one, because there's so many of us to coordinate diaries with. But if you want to get involved, those are the prices there as well. And bear in mind, like if you were to work with me for just a brand day, if you're creating your brand in one day, that's 3.5 grand plus VAT in itself. So these are fantastic value. And if you'd like to join the waitlist and find out more, because there is more to the programme, and it's still sort of in development at the moment, please do scan the code or go to bit.ly LGP waitlist. And I am here now for any questions. I've oh no, I've got the competition. I knew I had to put a slide in for that because I knew I'd forget. So can anybody remember how far your thumb scrolls to win a power hour with me worth £250? If you put your guesses in chat, yes, it's the height of Everest. I want it in meters. And I don't want you Googling it, please. Like just don't Google it. Just put a number in there. And the nearest guess under will win a power hour with me. Michaela, will you be able to check for me? Because you'll have to go back into the presentation and announce a winner. And then the next 3 nearest guesses will get signed copies of my book. So put a number in there and see how we go. And it's meters, not feet. Thank you very much. Over to you. I hope you found that interesting, guys. I'd love to get any feedback. If you've got any comments, post those in there as well.
That was fantastic, Sapna. Thank you so much for that. That was so full, so much brilliant content. I really enjoyed it personally. So has anybody got a question for Sapna or a comment? Why don't you either physically put your hand up? There's now 36 of us here. So Supana, I saw yours first.
Thanks, Lucy. And Sapna, that was awesome. Absolutely brilliant. Show us how it's done. Really great. It was really engaging, interesting, and just wonderful. And I had a question actually, and it's in regards.
I was up till 3 a.m. last night, so thank you. That means a lot.
Oh dear. Well, I was with you because I couldn't sleep properly. So there you go. Sympathy, sleeplessness. I just had a question about photographs. I had my photographs done in 2018, and I've got much shorter hair in the pictures, etc. And I had a client say when I was presenting, oh, I think we need a slightly more recent photo of you. And I don't want to redo my whole branding just yet. I'm not ready for that just yet because I want to keep it as it is. And I'm just curious, do I just add a couple of photos, maybe from someone like Sarah? Is it Sarah? And just use those in my client presentations and just sort of merge them into what I do. Yeah, I'm just curious as to, I think I'm overthinking this.
Yeah, I mean, what I did, because I wanted to update some of it, and there was some, I had my brand shoot about after my mastectomy, actually. Some of those photos were taken 2 weeks after my mastectomy. And then I needed some extra poses that we hadn't got. So I asked Sarah to just sort of add to the current, block. And that was brilliant. She could, we did it in an hour. And it was a great use of my time. I would say connect with Sarah, absolutely. What she does is fantastic, and you don't even need to leave your house.
I think that's astounding, but yes, I'll definitely connect with Sarah. I'm trying to find where Sarah is. So you can get your last Eris. I remember now.
Yeah.
RES.
Sarah and Kevin. So yeah, I would say if that's all you're looking for at this stage, but if you're going through a period of transition, I'm very happy for you to put in a call with me just for half an hour, and we can just chat through where it is that you want to go, and see if, you know, because what I'd say is I'd hate for you to sort of invest too much time and energy in doing something if there is going to be change. But if you're happy with where you are right now, then that's fine.
I would love that. Thank you.
And that's an offer open to anyone, by the way. If you want a half an hour call with me, I'll pop the link in chat.
That's very generous, Sapna.
Well, thank you for everyone turning up.
Has anybody else got a question for Sapna? Yes, Nick.
No, it wasn't really a question. It was just a statement that as a personal brand. I mean, as I said, I've been aware using social media 5, 6, 8 years ago. I refused to have a company page from what I was doing at the time, because brand, my Facebook is me, my business is me, my Facebook is me. So you look at my Facebook, it's carefully nurtured. I'm quite honest with my family. My social media is carefully nurtured. Okay, I'm very honest. I'm very genuine sometimes. I things that other people might not reveal, I'm happy to reveal. But no, I think it's absolutely right. Personal brand is everywhere, and it's easy to get wrong. Really, 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 really easy to cock it up. Okay, I mean, look at Gerald Ratner for some of us. Crikey, remember him? What did he do with one sentence, prawn sandwiches and whatever? But yeah, so it's easy to get wrong. But yeah, using something like SAPNA, probably easy to get right. So well done, really good presentation. Well done, SAPNA.
Thank you, thank you. Happy to do it to your Zoco group as well, actually, Nick, if you want.
Okay, thank
So
you.
Pretty has a question. Pretty.
Hello, hi, Sapna and everyone.
Hi, Pretty.
Hi, I was so fortunate to attend this today. Thanks to Kevin and Sarah. I think they shared something or put something interested in attending, and I must say I've enjoyed this. It's quite inspiring for me. And also I must mention Kevin and Sarah have done a great job. I've worked with them in the past and attended a session, so a shout out to them both. Here, my question is to you, Sapna. I was recently made redundant. I'm saying recent, but it was in January, and I started my business straight after the back end of that. I am so fearful of putting the first post out. I don't know what is stopping me, but it's a fear of being judged. I want it to be perfect. I know it just keeps going on in my mind over and over again. And here we are at the end of April. What advice would you give me? How do I go out there? What do I, put out? Just, to inform people that this is my business, kind of,
Yeah, I mean, you need to get clarity on what it is that you want to say, and you need to show up, as I was saying, in order for people to know that you're out there. Maybe start with smaller groups. If you've got like local groups and local business pages, maybe if you're not feeling ready to go out on LinkedIn and the big wide world of LinkedIn, are there some local groups that you could kind of start getting out there and practicing how to pitch your business? Hi, and there might be people in your local area who know who you are anyway, and they'll be rooting for you. And then as you get more confident, I mean, I even created my own Facebook group when I was trying to get confident on video, because I knew that people would join me that liked me and that were friends of mine on Facebook anyway. And then I made myself show up every week doing a Wednesday live, and that got me more confident with, because I was in a little echo chamber. So maybe start with that and start getting your messaging clear, and then creep up to maybe putting yourself out on LinkedIn. But certainly, again, let's have a half an hour chat if you want, and we can dig a little bit deeper on that, and then we can see maybe the group coaching program would be a good way to start on that as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Sapna. Yeah. Okay, cheers. I'll take that advice.
Helen, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, thank you, Davina. That's saying my book.
Lots of lovely comments for you here, Sapna. I'll send you the chat afterwards so you can catch up with them all.
I know, I should have a copy there. Well, my copy's there.
Helen, I'm sorry, you're still muted. Are you on a phone? Can anyone give any advice to Helen about unmuting? Or can you put your question in the chat, Helen?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I
unmute.
can't hear any of it. But perhaps we're going to get that in the chat.
Any other questions? Have I honestly answered everybody's questions about building their personal brand? That's insane. Oh,
Stephen.
Yeah, I've got a little question. Is the sound coming through okay? Because I've got the headphones in.
Yeah.
It's working, sorted. Yeah, I was at an event yesterday, and pretty much everyone, we broke out into a little group, and everyone's had a question around like doing personal video and putting it out on LinkedIn. And I know, like, for me, it's a real big stumbling block, and particularly like putting, I'm really good at hiding behind graphics and,
me too.
A post, and I can't stand taking a selfie or recording a video of myself. So have you got any advice, like, in terms of getting over that hurdle?
You know what? This is why I've got a super collab, because I think this is one that actually Kevin is much better placed to answer than me, and together we are stronger. So Kevin, can you give Stephen that advice? Because I need it too. I'll be honest with you. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in
the
progress.
Avengers of personal branding, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sure. So there's lots of reasons why people feel that. And a really big one is that you don't look how you think you look, and you don't sound how you think you sound. So we all hear ourselves through our own skulls. So a lot of people, when they hear themselves on video, especially ladies, I remember one lady saying to me that on video, she sounds like Mickey Mouse, and she doesn't sound like Mickey Mouse. She just sounds like that. She's just not used to hearing herself sound like that, because in her own mind, she sounds deeper. Okay, and we see ourselves in mirror image. So even before we start, we're used to seeing ourselves in the mirror, but when you see yourself on video, you see yourself the other way around. So unless you're Tom Cruise or somebody like that extremely symmetrical face, like most of us don't, already there's something not quite right. Like there's something subconscious, and that's before you get over I don't like my beard, chin, receding hair, whatever it is that you feel self-conscious about. That's before you can get to that point. So I've got receding hair. I've got a bit of a nasal voice because I had my adenoids taken out as a kid. That's just what I sound like. Everybody else is used to it. It's just me that's not used to it, right? And so I pick up on all those things. And I think the thing for me is, don't start, a bit like, very similar actually to what SAPNA said. Everybody equates video with social media. And there's much, much easier places to start with video that are much higher value. SAPNA mentioned about video is, any content on social media is kind of like the equivalent of digital fish and chip shop wrapping, right? It's quite hard to get out there straight away to the big wide world. So what I usually say to people is and what I do with my clients is say, like, don't start there. Start with things like frequently asked question videos. So when people have got a query about your products or service, you can say, hey, well, I've just answered, I've created a whole load of videos that I think you're going to find really, really helpful. Put them on your website, you can put them on a YouTube playlist. And so when anybody makes an inquiry, you can put a link to that at the bottom of your email. And those videos will get watched over and over and over again. And guess what? They're really easy because you know all of the answers to those, because you answer them all of the time. They're not, they're not your vision, mission, values, your origin story, etc. Those are really good, but don't start with those because it's quite hard to tell. You need a bit of storytelling. Get used to the sound of your own voice. Start with something really easy. That would be my take. Did
that answer your question, Stephen?
Yeah, I think that was a really good answer from Kevin, and a really nice place to start as well. So thank you very much, Kevin. Really appreciate that.
Have the answers.
So I think this may be the last question. Annie, you've got your hand up.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Sapna. That was brilliant. I learned so much. I especially want to think more about dressing. I haven't been on, I'm wearing this. It's a bit, I don't wear this to all my.
Not presenting today. It's absolutely fine.
But the Michelle Obama one, I hadn't realized that. Okay, so my question is, my company is an agency, so I'm really like behind the scenes, a connector. I hype other people up, and I'm a bit worried about doing more personal branding and feel like, well, shouldn't my work just kind of talk for me? So what can I do to kind of find a middleman in between now? I should be doing something, but maybe it's not right for
I mean, that's exactly
work.
what I said. What I said at the beginning of my journey, I was like, well, can't my work just speak for itself? And what I'd said is, your work doesn't speak for yourself. There comes a point you have to put yourself out there, and I think it's harder for women than it is for men. Apologies to the men in the room, but I think it's much easier for guys to talk about their achievements without any shame. Actually, there's no apology for that. It's just a fact. Women feel we've been grown up, we've been told to not talk about our achievements, and it could be seen as braggy or boastful. And I think that's a lot of the things that hold a lot of women back from building their personal brands. So it's hard. It is really hard getting out there, but you've got to kind of think that you're giving value. By showing up and telling people what you can do and promoting what you've done, you're helping more people find you, and you're able to help more people. So kind of reframe it a little bit, and as you're not bragging to people, you're actually helping other people find you, and you could help them. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah, okay. So don't overthink it. I provide a service, and that's what I need to talk about.
Yeah. But
And
maybe
it's
talk about, shine the light on your clients. Shine the light on your clients. Tell their stories. Sorry, Kevin, you were saying?
When I talk about this, it's not about you in a sense. You've got a duty. If you've got a brilliant service, you've got a duty to get out there and tell people about it. Otherwise, they won't know. They won't benefit from that service. So it's not really about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
Sarah.
I loved SAPNA's. It's not B2B, it's not B2C, it's human to human. We all want to buy from people. We all want to see each other's eyes. When you're doing that, climbing Everest, you're looking for faces. You're looking for a connection. You're not looking for text. So people want to see your face, Annie. And I don't do this. I need to do this. It's been really inspiring for me. Thank you, SAPNA. I know we're starting to work together, but yeah, totally. It's just, it's not about us. Human to human. Show you, shine, be you for people. It's really important.
Showing the human side, and actually, Annie, telling some of the, showing some of the behind the scenes stuff as well. The good bits as well as the, and it's not about creating a pity party, but sharing a little bit of the vulnerability sometimes. And I was nervous putting myself out here telling you this, but and it gets people on side. I mean, I didn't mean to well up when I was talking about this little girl is me, but where did that get you? It probably got a lot of people in the field, right? And that, I'm not saying you have to do that, but the story, I know what was in that story, and that was even affected me, and I've lived it. So
I'm inspired. I just need to start. So thank you so much.
And on that note, we all just need to start. SAPNA, thank you very much for giving us that inspiration today. I think that was an absolutely exceptional presentation. Obviously, everybody here has been thoroughly inspired by it. The comments in the chat are wonderful. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for asking really great questions as well, and enabling SAPNA to give us even more brilliant advice.
Thank you. If you could leave me a little LinkedIn review or something, that would be so amazing. You would not know, I was in tears I'm going to be really personal. I was in tears 2 days ago going, what the hell am I doing? I'm so out of my comfort zone. So I'm really, really pleased that you enjoyed it, and I've managed to give you some value today, and some pointers and some tips. So thank you so much all for turning up. It means a lot that you've taken some time out of your busy day, and it's lovely to see your faces. Thank you.
Absolutely. And see you all next time.